Mr. Obi, thank you so much for being with us. You are certainly the most popular presidential candidate in Nigeria right now among young people. There is just so much momentum behind you. But here's the problem. Nigerians are used to being disappointed by their leaders. And when you think about some of the problems that are facing the country right now, they're systemic. I'm talking about corruption. I'm talking about oil theft. I'm talking about insecurity. I'm talking about the fiscal hole that Nigeria is in right now. Can all of that really be solved by one person?
Well, if you have a leader that is competent, have the capacity and commitment to start dealing with it, you're not going to solve it overnight. But there will be a clear, visible, measurable attempt to dealing with it. And they're things that are solvable. They're things that can be dealt with decisively. But you have to have a leader that, if you look at what he's been able to do in the past, you can say yes.
Nigeria, as you know, is broke. It is barely able to service its debt. It spends so much more than it earns. What are your plans? Just from a concrete perspective, what are your plans to take Nigeria's economy off of life support?
Well, a variety of things. One is that you have to deal decisively with the issue of security. It's impacting negatively on your economy today. You have to deal with it head on, because you have to get your farmers to go back to farm and start ensuring that the vast land of the north are invested, are cultivated on. You have to start pulling people out of poverty as quickly as possible. You have to reduce aggressively cost of governance and deal with the issue of corruption.
Anyone who knows anything about Nigeria knows that it has this embarrassing reputation of, despite the fact that it is Africa's largest oil producer, it imports refined fuel. What is your plan for transforming Nigeria's economy from a consumption economy to a production economy?
Let me use the issue of oil, for example. There's no reason why our refineries cannot work. There's no reason why we should not encourage private sector to build refineries and operate them. And they're not rocket science. It can be done as quickly as possible. You can use today the side to remove the fuel subsidy, use the resources to support critical areas of production, from critical infrastructure to education to supporting investment in refinery, which will be, like I said, done within a shortest possible time.
A lot of Nigerian presidents have come in and talked about revitalizing the manufacturing sector, investing in refineries, but change, as you know, has been very, very slow. Why is it going to be different with you? And what would you say were the biggest hurdles in making sure that all of the things that you've just listed come to pass?
Well, what people need to do is to go and look at what I promised as a state governor when I said I'm going to turn around education, health, pull people out of poverty, bring sanity and civility in governance in Anambra State, whether that happened or not. When I said we're going to save money, did we do that?
I want to talk about one of the other sort of major issues that Nigeria is grappling with right now, and that is, of course, violence and insecurity. You can barely travel from one part of Nigeria to another without fearing for your life. And I'm talking about kidnapping, I'm talking about banditry, I'm talking about terrorism, I'm talking about Boko Haram. What is your plan for that?
You know, I did say that initially, that what we need to first head on is issue of security. Because unless you have security, the farmers can't go back, you can't attract investments, nobody will ever want to go to an insecure place. And you can deal with that. There's so many, you need to do a lot of work, reorganize your security architecture, ensure that there's multi-level policing. Issue of state police has to be decisively dealt with. There's so many things you need to do. You need to bring in more personnel into the security system, equip them properly, ensure that they are properly motivated to deal with the issue of security, because the need it is the most important thing Nigeria needs today.
As you know, you and I are both Nigerian, we're both Igbos, we're both from southeastern Nigeria. Nigeria is a very hard country to hold together. You've got 200 million people, so many different tribes, so many different competing interests and ideas. And when you think about the fact that, you know, you're from the southeast, how easy is it going to be to rally Nigerians perhaps from the north behind you? That's got to be on your mind.
That is what it was yesterday. Another problem. Because we have been able to elect people based on ethnicity, religion, my turn, connection, or one form of bias or the other, which brought us to where we are, or structure, which always says structure of criminality. That is what we want to dismantle now and ensure that the next election is based on character, capacity, competence, commitment to do the right thing. Nigeria is now not just in a physical mess, it is at the last stage to collapse. The people in the north don't have a secure place, they don't have good roads, they don't buy bread cheaper than people in the south. So is the people in the south. So all you hear about ethnicity, religion, connection, my turn, is elite conspiracy to keep Nigeria underdeveloped. But now we've reached the edge. We can no longer continue this way.
Mr. Obi, thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
It's only a scam government that can have a scam agency, otherwise a fictitious agency. This has all the trappings. This present story has all the trappings of a very well orchestrated con job by people within government. Please underline, people within government, and they brought this man in as a vehicle. I think what we are seeing now is a disagreement about sharing formula. That has
you said what we are seeing is a disagreement about sharing formula.
No, I mean, I didn't get your question.
You said what we are seeing now is a disagreement about sharing formula.
Absolutely, absolutely.
What do you mean?
There are pointers to that fact. I'll explain. This man purported, alleged, that he paid 400 million, or to have paid 600, but he paid 400 million to secure the appointment in the first place. Number two, this man said that from his budget, this man has been receiving budget for some time, that from his budget he was requested to pay 48% to a certain godfather, in this case, Femi Gbajabiamila Miller. These are the words of this individual, to continue to sustain himself. But he felt that was too much, and that led to a disagreement. I mean, look at all of the traces. If this man had purportedly paid 400 million for this appointment, there should be traces as to how he paid that money, to whom he paid that money. And even if he had used a middleman, if you trace to the middleman how much he paid and what he paid and how he paid, you can then trace from that middleman to who is the final beneficiary. That is one. Number two, this man was able to secure office at the National Secretariat. I, myself and you, I have never stepped a foot in the National Secretariat, and I am sure 99.8% of Nigerians have never stepped their foot at the National Secretariat. So a man who is able to secure office under the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation at the National Secretariat tells you all you need to know about what is happening here. Number three, this man was able to secure a bank account with the Central Bank of Nigeria. Myself and you, to open a commercial bank account, you need BVN, you need NIN, you need your mother's maiden name, you need your father's foundational name, you need your address, they call it KYC. In fact, I just got logged out of one of my bank accounts because they are now requesting that I do further KYC to the KYC they already have about me. I am talking of an account that I can only open with my face, that has my biometric. They log me and requesting further KYC. But this man was able to open a bank account in the Central Bank of Nigeria. I think that tells you the whole story in a nutshell, because I was told to come and discuss state police. So I didn't prepare. I know this will form a conversation another day for me. In a nutshell, this con job has all the trappings of the fingers, the hands, and the machinations of people within government, people who are higher up. And then there's a last leg I am missing, and I think I need to mention it. This man had secured appropriation for at least 2 years. It then means that your National Assembly, the Gospel Babylon's National Assembly, appropriated money for an agency that was not created by the instrumentality of the law. All agencies are created by law. So if this one that you are saying does not exist is fictitious, is securing funding from the National Assembly, that will tell you that it spreads beyond just the presidency. It stretches to the National Assembly, it stretches to presidency, it stretches to people within the CBN, people within the National Secretariat. By now, heads should be rolling. That heads are not rolling shows that those who are reporting the case are first the culprit in the case. In local parlance, the person who is helping you to look for your money is the person that stole it.